So there's this deck and it's called Oops All Spells because there's no lands in it. Well, you think there's no lands in it, but then you look really close. No, closer. Closer, come closer. Closer. Sorry, I had to do the jump scare there because I don't really get many opportunities to do jump scares. Sorry? If you look real close, and this time I won't flash up an image of a monster. If you look at these, they're spells, but on the back end, they're lands. That's right, they're multifaceted. Two sides of the same coin. Deep. Deep like a... You expected me to say anus. I know you expected me to say anus. I'm going to actually say like deep like my character. And full of gum. Is gum the good thing? I don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. These are lands on the back. So we have a game plan here. It's real fucking simple. Welcome to the LOLWUT. This is where we look at combo decks and how they work. This deck used to be a deck in Legacy. What you did is you used mana, fast mana, like Simian Spirit Guides on Lotus Petals and shit like that to fire out a way to deck yourself. You deck yourself with Balustrade Spy or Undercity Informer. These cards mill target play until they hit a land, but if you're playing no lands and you're only playing spells, that means it mills you the entire deck. It takes your deck and turns it over, flops it into the graveyard. And then you look your opponent in the eye and you're like, yeah, do you know where this is fucking going? And the first time you play against Oops All Spells in any format, you're like, fuck, I don't know where this is going. And by the time you realise where it's going, you're sad. Because you're dead. Traditionally, in Legacy, you would do this. You'd mill yourself. You'd hit, like, multiple Narcomoebas. You'd use those Narcomoebas to cast Dread Return. Dread Return would bring back Angel of Glory's Rise. And then from there, you can bring back all sorts of shit to do combo shenanigans. And most recently, Lotleth Troll has joined the Oops All Spell family for being a card. Not Lotleth Troll, that's the wrong card. Lotleth Giant. Lotleth Troll's a completely different thing. Look at that, it's so different.
Yes!
Lotleth Giant would kill people depending on how many creatures you've been. Now, Modern has never really had an Oops All Spells variant like this because, well, you don't have as much fast mana, so you might have Simian Spirit Guide, but there's no Elvish Spirit Guide or Lotus Petal. And secondarily, Dread Return is banned. It's really fucking banned because that card leads to some really dumb shit like Manaless Dredge and, well, Oops All Spells. But then along comes a Spider, and by Spider I mean Zendikar Rising, and it has cards that are called modal double-faced cards. The lands I mentioned earlier that are two-sided, they're multifaceted, like a tap. Is that baby a tap called a faucet? Can you call a tap a faucet? Do Americans call taps faucets? It's not relevant right now, but these things have two sides. One side is a spell that we're never going to cast because the spell's irrelevant. The other side is a land. But the important thing is, when you're looking for lands through a look for land effect, by like, you know, mulching yourself, as these are called, you don't hit these. These don't count as hits because they count as their front face as you flip cards over and mill yourself. That means you can Oops All Spells your entire deck into your graveyard. But we don't have Dread Return. What do we have? Well, you bring back a Narcomoeba because all good combo decks start with a Narcomoeba. Narcomoeba enters the battlefield from being milled, triggers, and brings back 3 copies of Sword of the Meek, all attached to it. Look at that. Look at that, like a visual representation. All of them attached to it. Then Salvage Titans in the graveyard, which is a card that I bet you've never heard of because no one seems to have, because it never made any waves until now. You exile 3 artifacts from your graveyard, which we have an abundance of. We have a load of shitty things in our graveyard that help us to ramp our mana as the game goes on. We exile 3 of those, put it on our hand, sack 3 Sword of the Meek to put it into play, but not put it into play, to actually cast it. Then, thanks to 1 Informer, 1 Spy, and then a Salvage Titan, that's our second creature of the turn, we put 4 Vengevines into play. That is 16 power. That's 4 lots of 4. And whilst all this was going on, you've hopefully hit between 2 and 4 copies of Creeping Chill during the mill, so your opponent is now down 3, 6, 12, or even 3, 6, 12? There's a 9 in there somewhere. They're down some number of life. And then Bob's your uncle, fun as you aren't, they're fucking dead. You've got Leylands of Sanctity to help protect against hand attack. You've got Nexus of Fate to shuffle back into your library, so you've got at least 1 more draw after you go off in the combo if they've got too much life. And then you got some graveyard shit. You got some sideboard shit to fight against graveyard hate and other. Now, most of this is irrelevant, but I just want to highlight the fact that Goblin Charblecher exists, because Goblin Charblecher was never really much of a modern deck. There was a meme, like, tier 3, 7-land Belcher deck, but now, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, we have Goblin Charblecher in modern, because again, it plays well with these. It doesn't see them. You get to shoot them for your whole fucking deck. You get to shoot them with your whole fucking deck. So our plan is to go off on turns 2 through 4 using the accelerants of Spirit Guides and Pentad Prisms and Talismans and these lands. Most of them just bolt you to come to play untapped. We have a few of the tapped ones in the Hagra Mauling. just to up our land count, essentially. And the last part is Phantasmagorian. Can you guess? I'm going to pause and let you guess what Phantasmagorian is used for. Did you get it? Famously, it's a part of Manala's Dredge. It's used to put Swords of the Meek that's stuck in your hand into your graveyard. Because as the Narcomoeba return triggers on the stack, you can dump Meeks into the graveyard, so when the Narcomoeba returns, it triggers and returns the Swords of the Meek. That's right, there's a lot of moving parts. I almost didn't do a deck tech. I was just going to go in and show you. But I'm going to show you now. So don't worry, if you don't get it, you'll see it soon enough. Don't forget, all of these videos are brought to you by channelfireball.com. If you didn't know, they're running a promotion called MagicFest in a box, where you can pick up a box to emulate the MagicFest that we can't go to due to this global plague. These come with things like foil Sol Rings, copies of After Exile, both foil and non-foil Sol Ring promo as well, 4 non-foil Lightning Bolt promos, a foil Mutavault promo, 10 foil Basic Land promos, and a load of other shiz, including Ultra Pro materials as well. It's a great promotion, so you can pick that up with the link in the description below to channelfireball.com. And of course, we're also brought to you by Ultra Pro as well, who make all the sick official merchandise for Wizards of the Coast. I just hope they don't make a Walking Dead playmat, if I'm honest. Right, you fucks! Let's play some Modern. If this was a Black Mana Source, this was a turn 1 Undercity Informal Balustrade Spire, which is a shame, so we're slightly off. We can even put Narcomoeba back in our deck. But we need the Sword of the Meek in there, so we put Sword of the Meek in there instead. If we draw the second Narcomoeba, we then need to find Phantasmagorian to even possibly win. Go Blood Pit and pass the turn. On the upside, we are Thoughtseize proof in the sense that if they Thoughtseize us, we have 2 Undercity Informers. They can't get both of them. Play our second land and pass the turn. If you don't know who I am, I'm Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. I'm a Magic the Gathering content creator equivalent of Chili Doritos. That's the last thing I ate. They're on the windowsill. My fingers are covered in the dust. My keyboard is disgusting now. It's all over my lap. Why did... Our opponent's played a Ketria Trio, which means they could have counter magic up. Drowning Lock, for example, could be a problem here. We're going to play the Undercrypt, we're going to bolt ourselves, and we're going to go ahead and play an Undercity Informer. They had a lead, that's fine. I'm not paying for it, passing the turn to our opponent. Ideally, I want my opponent to just fucking tap out and give up, but I feel like we're going to have to fight through multiple counter spells here. Good job we have 2 more Undercity Informer style mulch effects in our hand. When I say mulch effects, I'm referring to the idea of milling your library till you hit X number of lands. Mulch, I believe, was the word they were going to keyword this with, but never did. Uro. Well, that's an Uro. They go to 23, they draw a card, they put a Mystic Sanctuary into play, it does not trigger. Sweet. We drew a Pentad Prism. Cast Balustrade Spy. We allow the trigger to resolve, milling ourselves until we hit a land. Of course, we have no fucking lands in our deck. That's the clue in the title of the video. Oops, all spells.
Bazinga.
Our deck was momentarily in our hands, but is now in the graveyard. We're going to Creeping Chill them 3 times for 9 damage. Pew, pew, pew. Then we have a Narcomoeba come into play. Narcomoeba triggers all 3 of our Swords of the Meek. We'll put them into play onto our Narcomoeba. We're then going to put Shards of Alara Junk Rare Salvage Titan back into our hand by exiling 3 artifacts from our graveyard. So just going to pick just random talismans that we had in our graveyard. We now have Salvage Titan in our hand. I have a fucking shit ton of these somewhere. They're still only worth 50p. So if you could all start playing this deck, then I can sell these and perhaps finally afford to take my wife out for a nice dinner. I'm going to sacrifice 3 Swords of the Meek here to play the Salvage Titan. It will be the second creature we've cast this turn, including the Balustrade Spy, which brings back all of our Vengevines. For those of you who don't know, Vengevine reads, basically it comes back from the graveyard if you have cast the second, or if and when, should I say, the second creature spell for the turn. We get into the red zone and we tap them for 12 here. That's a lie. These aren't 3 4s, they're 4 3s. It's actually 16 damage. In the words of Mahatma Gandhi, in every game of Civ I've ever played, you're fucking dead, bitch. Now, there's a good chance they bring Graveyard Hate in against us, so I'm going to bring in some Goblin Charbelchers and perhaps another Leyline. Were they bug? I wasn't paying enough attention. I think they were bug. Our opening hand is hot fucking garbage. We cannot keep that. This hand has 1 land and 2 lands, a Prism and a Leyline. We are going to keep this. And we're going to bottom... Ugh, this is rough. I think we bottom the Sword of the Meek. But it does mean that our Vengevines don't immediately kill people. Let's see, we have a Prism we're going to cast. So I'm going to bottom a Vengevine. Our opponent is also mulligan to 5. I hope they're looking for Thoughtseize or Leyline of the Void, because then we're going to play Leyline of Sanctity and hopefully, eventually, maybe Belcher them. That said, we only brought 2 Belchers in. So, like, Drawing into Belcher isn't the easiest thing in the world. I don't really understand how this Belcher sideboard plan works. That's a part of the deck that I'm not 100% sure. I mean, other variants of the deck appear to be playing 3 and sometimes 4 copies of Belcher. So honestly, I think I'd rather have 4 copies of Belcher on my sideboard. We draw another land, which is pretty good. It means we can actually cast a Vengevine at some point. We play a tapped Black Source and pass back. They get a Triumph off of their fetch land and play another fetch land. We draw a Creeping Chill, which isn't ideal. We don't really want to ever draw these if we can help. Play a Skyclaves. We're going to bolt ourselves in. I'm going to play a Sword of the Meek, because I don't really care if this gets leaked. Another Triumph from our opponent. This time the Ketria one, so they are 4 colour. I'm assuming we're going to have some Omnath in our future, because, well, Wizards of the Coast love printing all these dumb fucking cards. That's a Field of Ruin. That's literally a 2-mana activated Dust Bowl here. Hopefully they don't notice. Hopefully they don't notice. I've got Undercity Informer that I really want to slam here, but they may have Mana Leak, which I don't want to slam it into, so I'm going to Pentad Prism here. I kind of want them just to Field of Ruin us so that we can go ahead and play the Undercity, but they did not, so I will not play Undercity Informer. I think I might start slapping them with a Vengevine before I play Undercity Informer to try and fall. Opponent blows up our land. We don't get to go look for a land because we don't have any lands to get. Oh, Field of Ruin is brutal against us. I want to play against this deck with D&T and just Ghost Quarters being literal wasteland. Or Strip Mine, depending on how you look at it. That sounds hot. That's the kind of thing that makes me get like the... We drew another Pentad Prism, which is great. Next turn we can play an Undercity Informer and play around Mana Leak, but won't have the mana to active, which means that makes us softer to removal. Field of Ruin again. Not ideal. Can we draw another land, please? Here we go. We did play draw another land. I'm going to play the Crypt and pay the life. The problem here is that they could have Mana Leak. I'm going to just use one of our green mana from a Prism to play a Vengevine. They could easily field us, then leak us here, but they didn't, so that's good. We can start beating them down now with our Vengevine. There was a long pause there, but our Vengevine finally got through and took them to 14. We're going to get Strip Mined again, or Dust Bowled more accurately. Losing a land. Fun, 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 fun. They still have triple blue available, frustratingly. I'm really hoping they play in a row, and then, oh, they got to push for the Vengevine as well. That's fine. Vengevine in the bin is still a Vengevine in the bin, if you know what I mean. We require them to tap out. So, if you're watching along at home, put your hands together, like a little prayer. Put them to your chest, and look at this person's lands. Look at them, and think, go on, tap out. Go on. We're gonna will them to tap out through sheer force of will, through the strength of our own want and lust. They will tap those lands. Just play a fucking Jace or something. Just play a Jace. Tap out. What's the worst that could happen? What? Go on. Come on, my friend. Just tap those fucking lands. Draw the mana from the ley lines beneath and use it to cast some super powerful Planeswalker. Preferably something that doesn't do anything to our board state. Preferably. I don't know. How about a Garrett? Do you like Garrick, opponent? Do you like Garrick? Cast a Garrick, opponent. Go on. Go on, opponent. How about a lovely Uro? And then you can cast, I don't know, put another land into play and cast Growth Spiral, for all I care. Go wild. Go hog wild. Cast a hog. Brindlebore. Brindle Snout? Bear Cub. Any of those things. Just cast them. Go on, opponent. Please? After that long attempt by myself and everyone watching at home, our opponent has chosen not to tap out. We drew another ley line. Not ideal. We can't play through leak anymore. So I guess I'm just going to pass the turn. If our opponent isn't doing anything, then that's fine. Both of us just drew a card and passed the turn. For all they know, I've got Veil of Summer in hand. Why doesn't this deck play Veil of Summer? You can cast off Pentad Prisms in the green lands. That's way better than the Thoughtseize that are currently in the sideboard, right? Surely Veil is better than these? Or these? Is push needed? The problem we have now is that Misty Rainforest represents another copy of a counterspell, right? Like, they can go and get Mystic Sanctuary because Wizards of the Coast hate fun, and then they can get their counter magic spell that they're going to cast now. We did draw a second Undercity Informer, so we're just going to slam the first one. Of course, they could have Surgical as well. Surgical's pretty bad. If they ate our Vengevines, we'd struggle to kill them. But instead, we just get Cryptic. Okay, that's fine. Now, if our opponent goes and gets a Sanctuary, which we know they're playing because we saw them wanting to play out the Uro in game 1, then we've got to fight for a second copy of Cryptic. Lo and behold, Mystic Sanctuary triggers, they put Cryptic back on top of their library, and I just scream at the sky. Fuck! I actually fucking despise this land. Like, maybe because I haven't played with it a huge amount myself. Maybe when you play with cards, you get, like, a borderline stock. Oh, fucking Christ. Another Ghost Core effect? Yes, I would love to get into the land. Okay, fine. They only have 3 mana here. So I'm going to slam an Undercity Informer and see how it goes. That's the plan. We're going to play a Skyclave. We're going to pay the life. We're going to attempt to slam it. They don't have Cryptic here, but I'm assuming they have Leak. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done that. Yeah. But, you know, you got to make them have it sometimes. Now, the problem we have here, my friends, is that whilst this video is labelled a quickie, our opponent might take a million years to finish. Just like me when I've had a few beers. We drew the Salvage Titan, which is... wow, it's a thing. Like, we can sack the Sword of the Meek and the 2 Pentaprisms to bring back a Vengevine if we've cast another creature this turn. So, we need to hit a land and another Undercity. Or, like, 2 lands. We're not out of it yet, chat. They've got a Cryptic command, but, you know, fine. See if I care. They actually have, like, 6 cards in hand. They're Growth Spiraling. Cool. Polluted Delta. That's another Mystic Sanctuary trigger there, I guess. But they got a Steam Vents instead. They cast an Uro, putting themselves to 15 and leaving themselves with 3 mana up. No land off the Uro, so the Cryptic is down. Hardly matters though, because we can't draw enough mana and the cards we need to cast. And they can cast Uro next turn. I think that's the door. They've showed us the door and we're refusing to leave. Like a drunk at a strip club. We're grabbing onto everything we can. Handrails, thong lines, and we're just like, no, we can't. I can't go yet. Now I'm thinking, do I just want to go fast? Yeah. Okay. I've called the Leylands this time to go ham. I don't know if that's the right thing to do. Would I like to play first? I'd love to play first. What is our opening hand? Land, Simeon, 2 Swords, a Creeping Chill, and a Vengevine. No, this is a stinking turd. Triple Vengevine, Charblecher, Prism. Fucking Christ, this isn't awful, actually. Put a Vengevine on the bottom, say done. Go play a wood. Pay the life. Green, red mana, make a Pentad Prism. Just need to draw 1 more mana source. I mean, that's not too hard, right? We did draw another mana source, so I'm just going to slam the Charblecher now, whilst they can't get rid of it, you know? Because they can't mana leak this. Now, if they have Force of Vigor, or an Abrade, or just something, right? I basically got to pass to our opponent. We do not have our turn Timber Symbiote Thought Seized, and we now Goblin Charblecher not destroyed, or turned off with a Revoker, for example, or Pithing Needle or something. Not that they'll be playing that. So we've got 2 things to dodge: hand attack and a disruptive or destructive element on our Goblin Charblecher. If we do, we get to felch the ever-loving shit out of our opponent. Steam Vents, shocking themselves. Okay. So they've probably got Leak here, but we don't care. Play this, pay the life, tap for 3 green, put the 3 green into the cannon, the People's Cannon, and target our opponent with a Goblin Charfelcher. We're now going to reveal cards on the top of our library until we reveal a land card. Spoilers, there aren't any land cards, and deal that much damage to our opponent. Double if we hit a mountain.
Nuclear launch detected.
That's 52 damage. Our opponent is dead on turn 3. They have cast no spells. Do not pass go. Do not collect £200. That's an interesting thing. Monopoly's always like £200 you pass go. Like in England, it's $200 in America, I assume. It's always like geonative currency, but with no conversion. I think that everything should be based off one currency and converted to make it very confusing for everybody and make kids learn about transfer rates. I've been Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. I hope you've enjoyed this, at least brief glimpse at the Oops All spell decks that have come up in Modern. I think it's been very popular on other people's channels, like Channel 5 and stuff like that, so some of you might have seen a load of this shit already, but I thought I would at least do a little quickie on it. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, don't forget to comment and subscribe, and if you really enjoyed the content, there's a link to my Patreon in the description below. For $2 a month, get involved with the Discord server, chat to me on occasion, really support me doing the shit that I do, and don't forget to follow me on Twitch as well, where I'm live streaming quite a bit of shit now. Magic, a bit of Among Us, a bit of Warhammer, and a bit of Baldur's Gate 3 at the moment as well. I'm doing a run through of that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Ta-ta for now.